All right, then.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Township of Mapleton Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 9th, 2023. I call this meeting to order. The first thing I want to mention is the passing of firefighter Andy McDonald. He had his funeral just the other day, yesterday. Andy was a long-serving member of the Township Fire Department and passed away with cancer, which was related to the fighting of fires over the years. So we do thank Andy and his family for his service, and especially to the family for letting him serve the Township of Mapleton for many, many years. At this time of life, if you can, please rise for O Canada. A declaration of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, move on to confirmation of the minutes. Item 4.1, moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Tamlin, that the minutes of the Township of Mapleton Council meeting held on April 25th, 2023 be confirmed as circulated in the agenda. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor? It's carried. No matters arising from the minutes. Matters under the Planning Act, item 6.1, consent application. The resolution here moved by Councillor Tamlin, second by Councillor Ottens. That Township of Mapleton Council support consent application B20/23 as presented for lands described as lots 1 and 2, part lot 20, King Survey 60R-1301, part 1, with a municipal address of 25 Booth Street East in Moorfield, with the following conditions. That the owner satisfy all the requirements of the local municipality, financial and otherwise, for the proper and orderly development of subject lands, including but not limited to outstanding taxes. That payment be made of a fee of $355 for a letter of clearance, that a parkland dedication fee be paid as provided for in the Planning Act. That driveway access to the retained lands be provided to the satisfaction of the Township of Mapleton. That servicing can be accommodated on the retained lands to the satisfaction of the Township of Mapleton. That a copy of the deposit reference plan be submitted to the township. And further, that council authorizes the planning and development manager to file with the Secretary Treasurer of the Planning and Land Division Committee at the County of Wellington the letter of clearance of these conditions on completion of the same. Any questions or comments on this? I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Moving on to item number 7, which is delegations. First delegation we have tonight will be Ben Clausen from Conestoga Lodge, number 295. Ben, if you just go up there, thank you, and hit the red button.
It's red. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is actually Sean Mackey, standing in for Ben Clausen.
I was going to say, you don't look like Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council. Council, supporting staff, thank you for hearing our delegation this evening. With me, I have members of our organization, and it is Pat Weed and Earl Schneider. We are both standing members of the Conestoga Lodge 295, a lodge that has been operating in Drayton for 150 years. And we come to seek, receive information of the town fish facility fee exemption. And I suppose my verbal presentation would highlight some of the things that we do on a local level, a county level, and a provincial level. On a local level, we offer any kind of benevolence that our community needs. We donate to the food bank regularly, and we support our local foundations like the local Cherry Fox chapter. On a county level, which there are 9 lodges in the county of Wellington, the district receives such things as Masonic bursaries for high school students, and large donations to the Hope House, which is a women's shelter in Guelph. And on a provincial level, there are many foundations that the Masonic body is a part of. In 2016, we kicked off what I would call the tenure of John Green as the Grand Master for the province of Ontario. That his goal or his charity that he funded, or that we funded together as a whole, was for prostate cancer research. And at the end of his tenure in 2020, that raised $1.35 million. The concordant bodies of the Masonic Foundation are Shriners, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, and the Eastern Star, as well as chapter and the York Rite, all of which have many members throughout the province and within our own community as well. This year is our 150th anniversary, and we are just seeking to hold a bigger event to remember those that are gone and to welcome those that are still with us. And we would appreciate your thoughts on that.
All right, thank you very much. So what you're looking for is a one-time use of the facility at no charge, or are you looking over time?
Well, over time, I think is what we're looking for. Our building is small, and we often have events at least yearly. We bring a group of people in for the what we call a dinner theater that puts money back into the community and just brings people out and puts them together. And we just can't accommodate them in a small space.
Thank you. Council questions to the delegation? Councilor Martin?
Sorry, there we go. And thank you for coming and taking the time, all of you, to come out tonight. I would suggest, I can't speak for all of council, but I would suggest that it's an oversight that the name of your organization isn't on this list already. It's a fairly exhaustive list of a lot of local organizations that do give back to the community. And I, for one, certainly support adding your name to that list. So thank you for coming.
Other members of council? Comments? Amanda?
Again, thank you for coming as well. I just wondered, so through you, Mr. Mayor, do you guys use your own hall on a monthly basis to run your current events that you're hosting and that you do in the township? And what are some of the events you've hosted recently? Just because I'm not familiar with that much of the Masons.
Thank you. We are a small country lodge. We have 40 members and maybe 20 are active, and that can accommodate our regular meetings that we have once a month. Beyond that, we have in the past done the dinner theater, and that was a regular yearly event. But with COVID and other restrictions, we just haven't been able to get the ball rolling quickly enough to accommodate the number of people that would come out. We're kind of in a stretch space. So, one place is too big and one place is another. And then if we have to pay for a hall to host these events, then we can't afford it. That's just what it comes down to.
Thank you. Further comments, questions? Councilor Ottens?
Yeah, it's been an observation to me that
the service club is able to access our halls, then they tend to hold more events and it becomes better for the community all around. So maybe you were stymied by your lack of space or the cost of the hall too. So I completely support this. And as Councillor Martin said, it was just an oversight that as we're going on this list there a few years ago, you know, you're trying to include everybody and that you just got missed, but you can always ask and here you are.
Thank you. Well, council, I do have the resolution that's here is for to receive as information, but what I'm hearing is that you want something more than just receive information. So I do have another resolution here that I'll read. I will need to get a mover and a seconder on this. I do have Councillor Tamlin and Ottens on the first one, but I'll read this one here. Item 7.1, that Township Mapleton Council resolved to immediately add the Masons of Conestoga Lodge number 295 to the list of service organizations which can rent Mapleton halls or boardrooms at no cost. And for that, beginning in 2024, the Masons of Conestoga Lodge 295 be added to the Mapleton's fees and charges bylaw Schedule 1 under service organizations listed below can rent halls or boardrooms at no cost. So I'm going to ask Councillor Tamlin and Ottens, do you wish to continue with this resolution? Okay, please sign. And Councillor Tamlin was the mover and Councillor Ottens was a seconder on that.
Just a quick question.
Turn your mic on, please.
Yeah, just a quick question. You mentioned as of 2024.
So 2023 immediately put on, 2024 is when we'll open up the fees and charges by law.
Okay.
And then put them back in place.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We're not going to open up the fees and charges by law at this point in time.
Yep.
Because we already just did that.
Yep.
But we'll put it on next year's fees and charges by
Okay.
law to change it
Thank you.
permanently.
Thanks for the clarity.
So council, I have read the resolution. It's now moved by Councillor Tamlin and second by Councillor Ottens. Any questions or comments on this resolution then? I'll call the question. All those in favor? That's carried. So you're automatically now going to be put on. And when it comes back around next year, when we do our fees and charges bylaw, we'll actually add it onto the list. But at this point in time, from here on in, you can use the facility at no charge.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everyone.
You're welcome. Moving right along, item 7.2, we have Drayton Minor Soccer Club. We got Corey. Is it Danielle or
Danielle.
Danielle's going to speak? Or both going to speak?
Uh,
All right, either you.
okay.
Go ahead, either one.
Thank you, Councillor, Mayor and councillors for inviting us to come today. Just Drayton Soccer, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. We run soccer out of here. It's grassroots, it's local league, it's focused on skill development and player involvement. We're part of North Perth Soccer, so we play Listowel, Howick and that kind of thing. So we're all completely volunteer. So the executive and the coaches, we're all volunteer. And I think maybe the next slide. Sure. So we've had increased enrollment this year in all of our age groups and excitedly, especially our older age groups. So last year we couldn't run a U18 because we didn't have enough kids. And this year we're running U18, which is really exciting. As a result, we've had to create 2 new fields. So Riverside B is what we're calling it. You might have a different name for it, is going to get used. So we're excited about that. And then the Kinsman field is going to be split into a small sided for the bigger kids and then a U8 field. So as a result of this, we've had to purchase goals, which when we started looking at this, we're shocked at how much they were. So what we're actually doing is we're actually getting them manufactured locally by a local welder. So we're really excited about that. Nets and corner flags we also need. In addition, some of our existing equipment is looking pretty rough. So we'd like to replace some of the nets. There's only so many zip ties that can be used before it starts to look pretty dodgy. In addition this year, so we're all volunteer, but we do have referees that are paid and those are youth from within the community. So starting at age 12 up until about 18. And then we have like a an adult reffing the older kids. So what we've done this year, so that's a job opportunity. They receive formal training. It's quite intensive. I'm going through it myself. And so what we wanted to do is buy uniforms for them. So instead of wearing just like a black cotton shirt, they've got an official referee uniform. So to help build confidence and just look a little bit more professional. And of course, there's a cost associated with that. So maybe the next slide. Okay, so yeah, so fields 2 large sets. So those are the ones that were being manufactured locally. So they're being welded. And then 4 smaller size nets. And then corner flags, new fields, replacement for damaged flags, and ideally damaged nets. And then equipment, so we've had to get some new soccer balls we want every child to have a soccer ball when they're practicing. And then the referee uniforms amounts. So that's kind of what we've put together. And I think is there one more slide? Thank you. I'm sorry, this is Danielle Hewer. She's the treasurer, and I'm Corey Claus. I'm the referees, fields, and North Perth rep for Drayton Minor Soccer. So if you have any questions?
Yeah, we'll open it up to questions. I do have a quick question, actually a couple. One is the soccer balls and bags. Is that not included in the fee for the kids? When you charge fees? Because normally in the past, it was always part of the fees that were put in so they get the ball and uniform. My second question is on the referees, and they're paid.
Yeah.
In the past, they supplied their own uniform, or was that supplied also by the organization?
No, we have never supplied uniforms for the referees before. We just asked them to wear a black shirt and shorts, which they've always done. It hasn't been an issue, but we just think having them look more professional will also help them build confidence. They're all really quite new and quite young. And I always say it's one thing to start a new job, in your little cashier place, but they're starting their new job in front of 50 people. So any, little boost that we can give them for confidence is helpful. The first question was about the balls and the bags. So the balls are Drayton Minor Soccer balls. And so the kids use them, and then we keep them. So just over time, they deflate, some get lost, they just get damaged. The bags end up with like holes in the netting, so the balls fall out. So we've really tried to kind of clean up and go through that. For U4, 5, U6, and U8, they get Timbits, so they get uniforms and balls from Timbits that they get to keep. And that's part of the Timbits program, which I don't know a lot more about.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
you covered
okay.
it. Yep.
So did that answer your question, sir?
It does, thank you. I referee hockey, so I just try to get some parallels with refereeing soccer and refereeing hockey, because in refereeing hockey, you supply all your own uniform and you get paid to do the game. But you do, in recent years, thanks to the hockey board, they started paying the referees fees. For many, many years that I refereed, it never was. It was, you did a few games, a bunch of games before you actually got back that $150, whatever it was, for your registration. So I just wanted to see.
Oh, yeah, no, so this is our first year buying uniforms for the
Yes.
referees.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other questions? Councillor Tamlin, you had one? No? I saw you there. Anybody else? Councillor Martin?
Question, are you looking to take advantage of our 50-50 funding stuff, or are you looking for 100%, or just looking for clarity? No, no, shake away. So it's listed as 50-50 in our agenda, just on the presentation. No, it's all good. It's all good.
50-50 is good. All right. Other questions from council members at all? Mr. Morgan?
Through you, Mayor Davison, just for council's information, there is $2,700 remaining in the 2023 budget.
Thank you. That's good information to know.
Not a coincidence.
It's amazing how that worked out. Other questions or comments? So council, I do have a resolution here that it's received for information. Does council wish to provide the 50-50? I need someone to tell me they need to provide the 50-50. Councillor Rotten said yes. Councillor Martin. Okay, so The original resolution was moved by Councillor Ottens and Councillor Tamlin. And I'll get this, I'll read this resolution now. Township Mapleton Council resolved to approve $2,700 of funding support through Mapleton Council's 2023 50/50 funding program to the Drayton Minor Soccer Club towards their financial needs identified as field and equipment as a consequence of increased enrollment this season in all age groups. Councillor Ottens and Councillor Tamlin, you wish to continue with this resolution? Councillor Ottens, yes? Yep. Thank you. So now the resolution is moved by Councillor Ottens and seconded by Councillor Martin that the 50/50 funding be approved at $2,700. Any comments or questions at this point? Go ahead, Councillor Ottens.
Thank you. This is not related to this, but since this is the last of the money, if anyone else wanted to come with it before the end of the year, then we just say it's gone. That's it. There's no more money in the 50/50 for 2023.
Well, we've used up the funds that council puts aside every year. But council always has the option of making changes if something was to come up. But at this point, if council, says we're not taking any more, we can go there. I always like to keep the door open. You never know what might come our way. But any further questions or comments? And I'll call the vote. All those in favor? That's carried. You have your 50/50 funding of $2,700. You're welcome. Item number 8, we have no minutes from committees at this point. I will mention that the Parks and Rec Committee, Jamie, we have all the people now on Parks and Rec Committee. And the first meeting is June. Go ahead. Sorry.
To you, Mayor Davison, in my memory, we are scheduling the meeting for June 4th. The clerk may be able to confirm that, but we've been reaching out and we've already started an agenda.
Well, according to the list, June 15th.
Oh,
But
I was
unless you
I missed
change-
a one, sorry,
Okay,
but the agenda has been started.
all right, perfect. Thank you. We go to item number 9, reports from staff. We have the building department report. Moved by Councillor Tamlin, second by Councillor Ottens, that Township Mapleton Council received for information building department report BD 2023-05 dated May 9th, 2023 regarding April month end and year to date. Any questions or comments on this report? And I'll call the question. All those in favor? It's carried. Moving on to 9.2, CEO Clerk's report. For the Rossay unopened road allowance. Moved by Councillor Otten, second by Councillor Tamlin. That Township of Mapleton Council received for information Clerk's report CL 2023-04 dated May 9th, 2023 regarding an unopened road allowance in Rossay known as that portion of Head Street between Catherine Street and Wellington Street. And that the Township of Mapleton Council declare at this open meeting that the real property is surplus. And further, that Township of Mapleton Council has determined that an appraisal of the fair market value is not required. And further, that Township of Mapleton Council has determined that the method of sale is by agreement of purchase and sale. And further, that notice and draft bylaw declaring the road portion surplus be given in accordance to Township Notice Provision Bylaw 2008-24. And further, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign any and all ancillary documents pertaining to the sale of said unopened road allowance. Did you want to speak to this, Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Questions then from council? To the clerk? Seeing no questions, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of this? It's carried then. Thank you. Moving on to 9.2.2. Moved by Councillor Reed, second by Councillor Martin. Township Mapleton Council received for information clerk's report CL 2023-05 regarding the 2022 municipal election candidate post-election filing requirements, financial statements, and auditor's report candidate Form 4. And further that the prescribed report be made available to the public on our Township of Mapleton website. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is obviously a statutory report and Ally will have it on our website tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from council then? All those in favor of receiving the report? Carried. Item 9.2.3. This is a report on athletic bursaries. The CAO. I'll just turn it over to the CAO right now.
Thank you, Worship. As per the report, there was two applicants, Mackenzie Cooper and Timothy Subject, or Cooper Mackenzie, pardon me. And since that report was written and published, there was two more that came across our desk, Max and Jack DeConing. All four, the hockey program must be doing extremely well. Because all four are for attendance to Silver Stick tournaments, international Silver Sticks. So depending how council would like to deal with that, there's two other applicants that came across my desk after the agenda was published.
I have the resolution here, 9.2.3, moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reed, that the CEO's report CL 2023-05 dated May 9th, 2023 be received, and that council approve the applications as presented, and that council direct staff to award the applicants with a $250 bursary. First question I'm going to ask council, is it council's desire to add those other two that came in and add them to today's agenda instead of putting them on another agenda at another time? Council like to do that? I'm seeing a yes. Okay. So we have the four bursaries then. Any questions or comments on this report? Councilor Martin?
I'm not sure if it's considered cruel and unusual punishment, but normally we would have the applicants come out to receive the bursary. Is that something we can do, or?
We are planning on that for the June meeting.
We are, okay.
Yes.
I know
We just want to approve it
there'd be
first.
technically 3 hockey teams, I think, that would qualify if all 30, 40 applicants would be interested, but right now there's 4.
Yeah, June meeting is what we're planning on doing, to bring them out for that. Any other questions? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried. Next item up is 9.3.1, moved by Councillor Reed, second by Councillor Martin. The Township Mapleton Council received information economic development report ED 2023-03 dated May 9th, 2023 regarding economic development update January to April 2023. Ally Hill.
Through you, Mayor. This is just an update of the year so far. Clicker's not working. So first it's just an update on our social media statistics. You can see all of our channels have grown in followers. The Facebook is the largest growth, but that is also the platform that we use the most to get information out. Instagram just because of its photos only, and Twitter, since it's such little information, doesn't get as many posts as Facebook, and Facebook gets to the most people we find. So that's just on the growth this year, and we're excited to keep it growing. Our 2023 CIP has been very successful so far. We have a $20,000 budget every year for this. At the time that I made this report, we had $16,835 approved, and we still only have that much approved, but we have gotten another application in that would be eligible for another $3,413, which goes over our $20,000 maximum. So that is one of those 3 outstanding inquiries. So we still have 2 outstanding. Out of those approved applications, that's resulted in approximately $70,000 invested in our community. Our 2023 farmers market is coming back this year. We have changed it to the Drayton Fairgrounds and to the last Thursday of the month. It's still from 4 till 7 and it's still during the week, just not to compete with the other farmers markets around. But we found that the Wednesday night wasn't as successful. There's also a lot of sports on during the week. So trying to move it to the fairgrounds to monopolize on the families that can't really get to the downtown parking lot because they're at the fairgrounds for soccer, baseball, things like that. So we're hoping that this year will grow a little bit more in people attending the market. So there is only the 5 dates this year and each one of them is themed. We'll have different events going on with each of them to make them more of an event rather than just a weekly market. So myself, Manny and Greg attended the 2023 EDCO conference in Toronto in February. It resulted in a lot of networking discussions and some great sessions with EDCO people from all over the province. We had a local love contest. So you might kind of recognize these photos that we did lockdown love in the past few years. And we wanted to keep kind of the same project going with Minto and Wellington North. So this year we said, it seems like people are all a little bit down on each other. So let's spread some cheer in the community and just say some great stories about anybody really in the community. So in Mapleton, we received 12 stories submitted. And we chose 5 of those winners just randomly to receive $100 gift card to local businesses. So it's the same that's been running the past 3 years for our lockdown love. We have had 2 business visits so far this year. We visited Darling International and Craftsman Hardwood. Both the visits went great and were well received with the businesses. And we're very excited for the next ones that are coming up over the next year. We had our 2023 photo contest. So these are just some of the great photos that came in. We had 86 entries overall and 9 winners, 3 from each category, which resulted in $525 to local businesses that are given away. A lot of these photos will be featured in our new community handbook that's getting doctored up right now. We attended the 39th annual farm show and the community was host to that. It was a great success and thank you to the Kinsmen for hosting it in here. We just a few weeks ago with Minto and Wellington North, we hosted 2 different events in the Career Education Council, which was North Wellington Works and Explore Your Future in Wellington. So the one event was just a job and career and volunteer fair in Palmerston. We held it there since our high school is there to try and get some youth out for getting jobs and just anybody in the community looking for jobs. The second event was a grade 8 event. So it was open to students over all of Upper Grand and Wellington Catholic to come and see booths from a lot of different jobs, different career paths, so that they kind of got a little bit of a vibe for what they were interested in before going into grade 9. So maybe they want to pick different courses now that they actually have got to see what's out there in careers before they get to high school. And we're just excited for everything that's coming up. We're still working at Digital Main Street. So we're excited to see the progress that comes out of it. The applications are still open for the $2,500 if there's businesses that are interested. The farmers market are beginning this month. The community handbook revamp and mail out will be happening soon. We are just submitting all of the changes now to our designer to change up. Our Canada Day celebrations back, and we are planning for culture days and lots more.
Thank you, Ali, for the report. Questions to Ali from council? The community handbook revamp. Now you're working on that now, and I know we've had that at Economic Development Committee. When will council see that book?
I don't have an official date of when it will be given back to me with all the completed changes, but once we get the completed changes, it will come back to council before it gets printed.
Moved by Council Reed, second by Council Martin, the Township of Mapleton Council received for information Economic Development Report ED 2023-03 dated May 9th, 2023 regarding economic development update January to April 2023. All those in favor? That's carried. Community Improvement Plan Budget Increase moved by Councilor Reed, second by Councilor Martin, that Economic Development Report ED 2023-04 dated May 9, 2023 regarding the Mapleton Community Improvement Plan Budget Increase be received for information. Further, that council approved the staff recommendation to increase the budget for the 2023 Community Improvement Plan from $20,000 to $30,000, and that council directs staff to move $10,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund into the Economic Development Budget Community Improvement Plan line. Ally?
So as you saw in our last slides and spoke to a bit, our community improvement plan has been well received this year. We had 3 applications that have been approved. We have one more sitting on my desk, just waiting to see if this is approved, to see what amounts they'll be in. Our maximum budget is $20,000 a year, and each business is allowed to apply for up to $10,000, which kind of leaves us a little bit stringy if we do get some bigger applications coming in. So one of them was an $8,000 grant, which took a good chunk of it, but that is a larger project in the end. Our community improvement plan, we can give funds to businesses, and then if we feel they will align with the county community improvement plan, we can apply on behalf of the business and apply to the county. So our one business, Tullamore Lavender, we did apply to the county and they received an extra $5,000 for their project. And going forward, we have another application that will probably come through later this year for Tullamore Lavender, which they will only be able to get up to the $10,000 maximum. And we have another one coming from Drayton Pharmacy to look for their expansion, which is probably going to be applied to the county as well. So for those projects, we do have to fund them from our CIP to be able to apply to the county CIP. But overall, we do just want to support as many businesses as we can in the community. And as of now, we will be hitting our maximum of $20,000. So if you council is all in support, we would like to increase it another $10,000 to be able to support as many businesses.
Thank you. Questions to Ally from council on adding $10,000? My first question is 10,000 enough? That's my first question. You know, we're in May and we've already spent 20. Councilor Ottens.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So that additional 10,000 is not applied for yet. This is going to be sitting there, assuming there might be application, or do you know of applications that will be going for it? I guess it's hard to say that. There's not officially applied for yet.
The one that we did receive in, it's an outstanding amount of about $250 that we could give them over and above the 20,000, but the other 2 have been hard inquiries, so they have not applied yet, but they are interested. At this point, I haven't heard from many others, so I do think the $10,000 would be enough. A lot of the time now, for all 3 of these projects, we've heard well in advance that they're going to be applying. Just for a lot of the bigger projects, it takes, unless it's a signage project or something, it takes a long time coming down to get the trades in, to get the people in to do the project. So at this point, I do believe the $10,000 would be enough for this year.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? Go ahead.
So maybe John to speak to this then. So as far as transfer of funds, how does that work in the larger scheme of budgets and what's available?
Worship, the money's probably right now in our capital reserves used to fund for infrastructure projects. So $10,000 is not a lot of money and we just redirect it for funding a budget.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the increase? That's carried. Next item up, we have moved by Councillor Reed, second by Councillor Martin, that Township of Mapleton Council received Public Works Report, PW 2023-07, dated May 9, 2023, regarding the 2023 Public Works Capital Budget, first quarter for information. Jamie.
Thank you, Mayor Davison and council. Just a quarterly report there with a spreadsheet that I will keep updated and bring back every quarter for council's information. Everything's going fairly well. We did hire a new manager of assets and procurement. So Amon Baines is her name, and she is reviewing the asphalt tender that's out in May, and we'll be looking at the bridge tender PB 067 also. We're right in the middle of that, so we should have that out within the next couple weeks. I did see one correction there. So the pulverizing of the hard top for that tender has been awarded back in January to Clausen Farms for 12,000, but I'll update that in my next report. And then also the E1 pumps at the very bottom for Moorfield we've received that shipment. So that has been completed, not ordered. One of the other things from last year, carrying on, we will have an open house for the water tower. We just gotta get a little bit of nice weather here to get all the outside all fixed up with the sodding, or sorry, the topsoiling, grass seed, and we got a gate to put in and just tidy things up, and then we'll have an official open house for the water tower. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's a great thing, and some council were in there, and it's pretty neat in there. So yeah, that's basically it, other than 009 was last year too. I wrote a report earlier that the contractor did not want to return, who originally was working on that project. So we did re-tender it with the whole back money in that, and they've been working. I don't know if anybody's seen the signs out inside Road 15, but they've been working away completing that. So that's my report.
Thank you, Jamie. So the tenders will be going out for the road sidewalks May, sometime this month, and return back when?
Sorry, the sidewalks, that's for
the road tenders, you're talking about the.
Oh,
tenders.
sorry, yeah.
So that's when they expected to be back.
They'll go out for 2 weeks. Yep, they'll be out for 2 weeks, so it'll all be done hopefully by the middle of June.
Thank you. Other questions for council, from council? To the Public Works Director? Good report, Jamie. Really like how you laid it out. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll call the question. All those in favor then? Thank you. It's carried. Go to item number 10.1. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Reed. That bylaw 2023-031 being a bylaw to appoint an auditor for the corporation of the Township of Mapleton for the fiscal year end December 31st, 2022, be hereby ready first, second, and third time, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with a corporate seal. Any questions from council on this report to the finance director? All those in favor then? It's carried. Item number 11, correspondence of council direction. We don't have any. Item number 12, correspondence for council information. There's 6 items on there. Does council wish to speak or have any questions on any of the 6? Councillor Reed.
I just wondered if it was the intent of anyone on council through you, Mr. Mayor, of us attending the Waterloo Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival.
I have not heard anybody going to that from council, but it's certainly out there if you want to go to it. It's at Guelph Lake Conservation, which is in the county of Wellington. It's not in the city of Guelph, it's in the county of Wellington. I know the county of Wellington has supplied funding to this one as it is in the county this year. So there will be some funding provided by the county for this water festival. So the applicant, the information is there for you if you would like to go to it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go as I have other commitments that day. Any other questions or comments for any of these items? We have any notices of motion today? Seeing none, no notices of provision, other business, item number 15. Councilor Ottens.
Couple things. I attended the OSUM conference last 2 weeks ago. And it was, I call it springtime in Paris, but we were actually in Brantford. So good try. We're close to Paris, but it was a very interesting conference. There was a very entertaining little sing-along at the end, believe it or not. But I found that the one message that they said that I've been thinking about is to be a good ancestor. And I thought that was a very interesting way of saying it. So whatever decisions we make, we should think about how does that affect, you know, we think about if only previous council had done this, if only 20 years ago this decision was made. So I'm thinking for us, we should be a good ancestor for the council 20 years from now or 30 years from now. And that applies to us personally as well. And speaking of ancestry, I'd also like to talk about or just mention the Historical Society has a really interesting presentation on Friday at the Moorfield Hall, 7 o'clock. And there's a speaker, her name is Tracy Kane, and she was featured on the History Channel. They did a whole piece about the Black history of the Underground Railroad and slavery and how we ended up in Canada. And her story, which her ancestors ended up in the Wallenstein-Yatton area. She was a small part of that 4-part presentation on the History Channel last year. So she's going to be a speaker at the meeting 7 o'clock this Friday at the Moorfield Hall. And it's very much geared towards older children as well as adults. So it's very listenable, and she tells her stories through song and storytelling. So hopefully we'll see people there.
Thank you, Councilor Ottens. We do have that rich history within our community of the Black heritage. Any other business? Okay, I'll move into for a closed session then. Moved by Councilor Reed, second by Councilor Martin, the Township Mapleton Council move into a closed session to consider the following subject matters: review and adoption of closed session minutes, April 25th, 2023. Personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board members. All those in favor? That's carried.